Is that you, the master thief?
This review is brought to you by GoDaddy. The original Thief, The Dark Project, came out in 1998 when I was a wee lad just starting out in a career of talking about video games with a camera in front of me. I had hair, and there was still some dewy hope left in my eyes. Thief really was kind of a revelation. It really opened up possibilities of what you could do from that perspective. Obviously, a lot of stealth games have happened since then. We've had the Metal Gear Solids. We have had, mini Splinter Cell game. Stealth doesn't have the same novelty, but the other aspects of Thief, those kind of wonderful senses of setting and everything, really have kind of stayed with me. And it's with that in mind that I've been quite interested in sitting down and trying Eidos Montreal's attempt at rebooting the franchise. And here you are. Thief.
And don't screw this up, Garrett. Some of us still need to pay our dues.
Shrouded almost entirely in night, Thief is nothing if not an exercise in mood. The narrow streets are heavy with anxiety as a mysterious illness, affectionately called the Gloom, infects its citizens, and the authoritarian rule of the Baron is fomenting civil rebellion. The Byzantine streets of the city create narrow canyons choked by multi-tiered structures that feel arbitrarily built atop one another in an unchecked medieval urban growth. Some of the greatest pleasures of this alternately fascinating and infuriating game are wandering around and soaking in the incredibly rich and detailed world that casts more than enough real and metaphorical shadows for its protagonist Garrett to hide in.
Do you believe in ghosts?
That the city in Thief is only referred to as the city really comes to life in this reboot of the estimable franchise. It demonstrates the world's richness. This generic labeling presents this setting as a natural occurrence, like a forest or swamp, something that has its own ecosystem and whose growth is governed by inevitable forces than by human design. Ignoring this sensibility is what sets the story in motion. Garrett and his ambitious and feckless partner Aaron take on a theft that causes them to stumble upon a ceremony using a mysterious power to usher the archaic and moribund city into a new industrial economic prosperity. Nothing goes as planned, and Aaron is lost, and Garrett falls unconscious for a year, eventually smuggled back into the city that is now sick, deeply oppressed, and unsettled. Returning to his larcenous ways, Garrett finds his heist dragging him back into the strange events of the previous year and confronting the ambiguities of power and learning the responsibilities of even the most self-interested of outsiders.
This job's getting more complicated by the second.
I'm making this sound better than it's conveyed. There's a lot of interesting ideas involving faith and the burden of knowledge, but the story only advances on the bookends of the game's 8 chapters, which take a while to complete if done thoroughly. As a result, it's hard to hold together the role of the characters and plot points, but caring and investing in the narrative is nearly impossible. Confrontations at the game's conclusion carry none of the weight the game implies. Revelations are similarly threadbare, and there's a lingering sense that there was supposed to be more. Given how fertile the setting is, it's a frustrating disappointment that it's not more effectively indulged.
What's the catch?
He's dead.
Despite a story that doesn't compellingly motivate, the gameplay managed to hold my attention. It's still a stealth game, but one that surpasses the originals in conveying that Garrett is a master thief. Seeing your hands deftly lift candle holders and letter openers is an elegant visual tool that manages to provide a strangely tactile satisfaction. The swooping move that accelerates movement for a brief moment similarly empowers the player with the sense of preternatural skill one would expect of Garrett. Additionally, as a result of his accident, he has focus abilities which highlight points of interest in the environment and, with upgrades, can improve his stealth, combat, and marksman abilities. While the upgrades were occasionally useful, the core feature of pointing out interactive opportunities was essential given the dark and highly detailed visual design. All of these features feed into a classic stealth gameplay that doesn't fall into the slow tedium that became synonymous with the genre over time. I found myself quickly falling into a rhythm of surveying a room, finding an appealing path, and quietly removing the human obstacles in my way, and then looting it of anything I could find. The level design isn't always consistently inventive, but at its best, Thief presents potential paths without clearly delineating the risks involved, leading to surprising moments of quick recalibration, escape, or combat. It's that tension of finally acting on a plan after plotting out your intentions without full confidence in success that's the core appeal of the series. While those moments are present in Thief, As the game progresses, a certain reliability to the design starts to set in. Most scenarios have a handful of traversable options available, each one suited to a particular playstyle and upgrade set. You can use a rope arrow to climb, or unscrew a vent cover, or manipulate a switch to affect the environment. The hand of the designer becomes increasingly present, and you realize the game is less about player discovery and invention like the original series than uncovering the thoughtfully placed secrets in every room. There are a couple of moments that stand out. A sequence when several guards are hunting for Garrett as he must sneak to a safe and unlock it. Even better is a terrifying chapter in a haunted asylum that had me screaming like a tweener while playing at 9 o'clock in the morning. These bring a spark of life and creativity to the game and shock me out of the basically satisfying but unsustainable monotony of entering an area, stealing objects, and exiting quietly or violently. Even a potentially fun sequence in a high-end brothel is undone by having all the clients in a comatose state, merely set dressing. Thief struggles to introduce variety and new challenges as the game progresses, and while the core gameplay is strong, after finishing, only a handful of moments remained in my memory.
If I don't spoil the mood in here, I can fill my pockets too.
The side missions in Thief are equally promising, but similarly ephemeral. Scattered around the city, they are a wonderful excuse to further explore this murky world. Nearly all the side quests are centered around stealing a particular object from a particular location. They become environmental puzzles, figuring out how to use the environment to get to the prize. But my hopes that they will give way to something more comprehensive then belie the fact that they are just becoming increasingly oblique placements of balconies and outcroppings where you can fire a rope arrow. The same goes for a set of longer multi-stage side quests that appear to offer a fun story with interesting characters and end up with a dissatisfying pat on the back. Now, one interesting thing the side quests do highlight is, despite how fascinating the circuitous design of the city is, finding your way to a particular spot can be infuriating. Unable to render the entire city all at once, the game has particular transition points, windows, debris with a beam you need to move out of the way. That's how you access the next section. But they aren't highlighted on your map, and the on-screen waypoint is too general to offer any assistance. In the end, even my favorite part of the game tested my patience.
Still, it's good to see you.
And that ultimately sums up Thief. There are great aspects to this game, but none of them feel like they've been given the attention and care they deserve. The game demonstrates there is viability in this classic franchise, but hopefully we'll have the opportunity for a stronger case in the future. A 3 out of 5. There you have it. It's funny, this is still a game that I would encourage some people out there to give a try because there are some great aspects for it, but as I detailed in the review, it's something that just can't maintain itself for the duration of the game. It really is kind of one of those almost had it disappointments. And with that, let's take a moment and thank our sponsor, GoDaddy. It's go time, and GoDaddy is here to help you kick ass online. Start your website today with the $2.95.com. Visit GoDaddy.com and enter the promo code GAMES295 to get your .com for just $2.95. Some limitations do apply. See the website for details.